Alright, so this is a little attempt to show you where to get all these, how to do all these calculations for the Chapter 3 Algebra 1-2 project. I decided to use the Hummer, so I'd prefer you not use the Hummer example, and I wouldn't want you to use the payment plans that I picked. I picked payment plan A and payment plan B, so I mean I would have done all the work for you, at least one of your cars, so please pick something else. Alright, so I picked payment plan A for the Hummer. First of all, that's the price, of course, $58,130. I picked payment plan that had 3 years, 7% interest, and the total amount of the loan is using this formula: A equals principal times 1 plus R raised to the T. And the R is the rate, the T is the number of years that you have the loan. P is principal, that means that's the starting amount, that's how much you borrow, or whatever the amount of the car, whatever the amount of the loan that you're getting is. So I plug that in for P, and then you can see I've got the R is the interest rate, and so you'd always write that as a decimal, so 0.07, and then the year is raised there as a 3 as an exponent. Now you do have to be careful with your calculator. You've got to do all of this stuff first. Okay, so it's basically going to be 1.07 raised to the 3. Figure out what that is, and then multiply it by 58,130, and you'll get this. So this is a chunk of change right here. That's how much I'm going to pay if I get a 3-year loan for this Hummer. I'm going to pay $71,000 for this thing. Now the total interest for the loan, what I have to do there is I have to take the $71,000 and I have to subtract the cost of the Hummer. So I take this amount and I subtract the $58,130, and then I get, this is how much the interest is. That's the difference. Look at the difference between $71,000 and $58,000. That's all interest. Now, as far as the monthly payment goes, I take this $71,000, this amount, this dollar amount, and I divide it by however many months that I'm getting a loan for. And see, I'm doing it for 3 years, so we know that 3 years is 36 months. You pay monthly payments. So we take the $71,000 amount, divide it by 36, and that's where I'm getting this, $1,978.10. That's how much I have to pay every month. Pretty steep. Okay. Then we start talking about the gas mileage, and that would be, this Hummer gets 8 miles per gallon, pretty sweet. And I picked the medium driving, so that's 300 miles a week. And if I want to figure out the yearly, of course there are 52 weeks in a year, so just multiply that by 52, and I get 5,000 or 15,600. Now, how many gallons am I going to need? All right. Well, I take my mileage and I divide it. This is my mileage, 15,600. I divide it by whatever my miles per gallon is. So I get 8 miles for every gallon. So if I divide that by 8, then that will get me the number of gallons that I need. So that'll get me, I need 1,950 gallons of gas to get me through the year with this Hummer if I drive 300 miles a week. How much will that cost me just in gas for the year? Well, I would have to, let's assume that the gas is $3.35. The last time I checked, that's about what it was. So I multiply the number of gallons times the price, and that gets me $6,532.50. So that's how much it's going to cost me in gas for the year. And then if I want to figure out that per month, then I of course just divide it by 12, and I get the $544.38 per month. And then really, I should have added another spot below, and that would be like the total monthly payment that this dang Hummer is costing me. And so that would be adding, the gasoline cost per month, which would be this, and then it would be adding the, the cost of the payments. So the monthly payment right there, and And then, we left out insurance, and that's a huge thing for a Hummer, really lots of cars, but for a Hummer especially. So we'd still have the insurance to pay too, and the only reason why we didn't add that is because there's so many different factors involved with insurance, as far as your age and all those things, so it wouldn't really be super accurate. So there's that column. So I'll show you a little bit of the different payment plan. So now I choose payment plan D, 6 years this time, and I'm going to get a 6.9% interest rate, so it's a little bit less. So when I do the loan, when I figure out the amount, I plug in the same amount for the P. The rate's a little different because, it's 6.9, so that's going to be 0.069. I'm raising it to a different number of years. I'm raising it to 6 years right there. And then again, do all that part here first, and then you multiply it by 58,130. It's going to cost me it's costing me more than $86,000 for this Hummer if I extend the payments out to 6 years. And this is really common. People do this because they don't think about how much it's going to cost in the long run. Including myself, they think about how much it's going to cost per month. So we'll get to that in a second. Now the total interest would be taking the $86,000 amount there and subtracting the price of the Hummer, subtracting the $58,000. So this is how much interest we'd be paying. This is how much extra we're paying just to be able to borrow the money, because I don't have $58,000 cash, so I have to borrow it. So they're charging me this much to borrow the money for 6 years. So that's huge. Now the monthly payment again is taking the $86,000, the total amount of the loan, and dividing it by the number of months. Well, that's where it sounds like it's a really good deal for me, because I'm dividing it by 72 months, which is 6 years, So I divide that by 72 months, look at my monthly payment. So the dealer can get me with that, because he can say, oh, look, let's do it for 6 years. Look, your monthly payment's only a little over $1,200. It looks so attractive. And that's what happens to tons of car buyers when they go into the dealership. They don't think about the $28,000 extra they're spending, or whatever the amount extra they're spending. And then really the rest of it, it's all the same. The only thing would be my extra column at the bottom where I'd have total monthly, and that would be a little bit different because my monthly payment was a little bit less for this payment plan, even though I'll be paying for 3 more years. So hopefully that helps a little bit. You're on your own for the rest.